Welcome to the Mormon to Medium podcast, where we'll talk about spirituality, the paranormal, religion, and my journey going from Mormon to medium. I'm Nannette Ride. Thanks for listening. Now let's go have some fun.
Don't be afraid. Close your eyes. There's a moon overhead.
Welcome to the Mormon to Medium podcast. We're your awesome hosts, Brad and Nann, and we're just going to fill you full of a lot of bullshit today.
Hello. We're going with this.
It is. It's a long day.
I don't think we should fill anyone with a bunch of bullshit. I don't think that's fair to anyone who's spending their time to listen to us.
Honey, it's hippy-dippy bullshit.
It is hippy-dippy bullshit.
There we go.
So we can call it hippy-dippy bullshit. I'm all good with that.
I'm trying to look at my notes.
So as you're looking at your notes, anything fascinating in there?
Yeah, I had a really crazy day, and I was looking at my notes because I was looking into light bodies.
Into what?
Light bodies.
I know we've talked about light bodies briefly before. What are light bodies?
So you have your chakras, are the spinning plates that go up the center of your being, down your spine.
Yeah, anyone who's done yoga hears chakras and talks about that, right?
Yeah. And you actually have 18 instead of 7, but yeah.
Because it goes up above and down below.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We've talked about that.
Yes. And then you have your meridians or your chi, which are rivers of energy that run through your fingertips and out your feet. They run through every organ in the body.
Okay.
Right. And also chakras run through every gland in the body.
Oh, so it's a glandular issue.
It's a gland. Yeah. So chakras are glands.
Okay. Well, they're not glands, but they
run through the
them.
glands.
Okay.
And the meridians or the chi run through the organs.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then the light bodies, they comprise, all of those things comprise your aura. But the light bodies go out from us 7 deep.
Okay. So the light bodies is essentially an aura then.
It's an actual light body. So each chakra has a name, each meridian has a name, and each light body has a name. So
okay, wait a minute. Let me make sure. So when you say light body, so it's like a duplicate of us, but in light? Is that what that means? A light body?
No, it's just it goes straight out from us. And for example, your emotional and mental bodies and your astral body, they're all about relationships. So, like if we're having an issue, it'll be stuck in one of my light bodies. So, and the etheric body is all about your voice. The celestial body is all about your intuition.
So now, okay, I'm still confused because you talk about it going out from us.
It goes out from us. So from the sides of us.
So that's why I'm saying like light body, when you say, oh, you've got light bodies, it's an outline of our body, right? But in light that goes, and there are 7 different layers of that
it, like an
light
onion
body. Okay.
Yeah.
So it essentially wraps our body in layers of this light,
yes,
which would be why it's called light bodies.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying. Like I said, it's been a really long day.
Yeah. I had to work a little bit for that one.
Godfrey. I tell you what, be in my head.
Oh boy, that's someplace no one wants to be.
I got better after I had something to eat, but holy cow.
Well, you did have a long day. You've done something different than you usually do.
Yes, I have continued, not begun because I've done them before, but doing couples balances. So couples that are having issues in a marriage, in a family, with work or anything like that. I have the couple come in and balance them individually and then balance them as a couple with goals in line. It's really cool. Got
it. So like a hippy-dippy bullshit style of couples therapy.
But better. Yeah.
Better.
Well, here's the thing. Like you can't heal things with just cognitive therapy alone. There's just no way, because when you go into a stress or you go into a trauma, you store it in the body.
Right.
So you have to go and address the body and address the issues more than just talk therapy. So
got it. So you essentially you have to release those issues from your body.
Yeah, you have to heal the stored energy and get the polyvagal response out of the body.
Polyvagal response. You're using lots of really great vocabulary today.
Thanks, Brad.
Yeah.
Do I sound super smart?
Yes, you do. Would you care to explain what polyvagal means?
Well, it's basically your fight or flight response. You know how you kind of hunker down when something goes wrong. You clench your jaws, you put your arms, to protect your core, and then your legs get into fight, flight, or freeze. The muscles will hold those positions for long periods of time. So even if you're in a stress response, certain muscles will tense up and hold you protected.
Okay.
And so you're buckling down, basically, is what it is. So releasing the stress response of a trauma or a high stress situation lets the body just take a big deep breath.
Got it. So I actually just looked it up because I'm like, okay, let's.
You want the technical term?
Yeah.
You didn't say
kind
that.
of. So polyvagal theory is a collection of proposed evolutionary, neuroscientific, and psychological constructs pertaining to the role of the vagus nerve in emotion regulation, social connection, and fear response.
Yeah, it's your fight, flight, or freeze.
Okay, thank you.
Response, but yeah.
I'm like, I've never heard about that before, but that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically when the body doubles down and hangs on to keep you safe.
Polyvagal chant.
And then when we balance the body, mind, soul connection, it releases and takes a big deep breath and feels safe still, but can release that trauma or that stress.
Got it. And that's what you're trying to do with couples therapy.
Well, a lot of it, because there's a lot of things couples don't talk about, right? A lot of feelings that are really raw. And when you're telling your spouse, how you feel about something, sometimes they take the defense or they blame and things happen and you just don't get the message across. So what we do to begin with is take the stress out of it. Make everybody take a freaking chill pill. No, we do a stress balance is what we do.
Right.
With a goal in mind of things that are stressors that keep them from being who they want to be. And so we do an affirmation stress balance, which is really, really cool. And I teach them how to do it on themselves so they can do it later. Okay.
That's cool.
Which is really cool.
So they get something they can take home with them and use whenever they need it.
Yes. And then go through and, Spirit tells me what to do. Every couple is going to be different. Their needs are different. But I could do everything from shamanic clearing to more goal setting. We could have one person surrogate for the couple and have the couple touch each other while I'm balancing them with their goals in mind for their relationship. It's really, really cool when you take the fire out of it, though, and then they're able to actually be vulnerable to be able to say how they feel and how they want their body to feel and how they want to be in a year, together as a couple. They get to set their own goals and then be able to attain them energetically and then take them into their lives. So they literally leave here vibrating in a whole new frequency as a couple.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's really cool to watch.
So does it just change their whole countenance?
Oh, gosh. I'm too tired to be triggered.
You can just see it. Right in there.
You can just see the light.
So speaking of seeing the light, we were just talking about light bodies and you were looking at your notes and you wanted to talk about that too. And I interrupted you and totally threw you back into couples balance. No. You're good. You're good. I was thinking about the couples balance because some of the light bodies actually have to do with relationships. And so, yeah, I don't think I had remembered that from all of my classes and schooling that I've taken. I'd forgotten that part. So, yeah, I'm constantly being reminded and taught. Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Yes. Did you know, Brad, that you cellularly replace your cells every single year? Did you know that? I didn't. So on a cellular level, my cells regenerate every 7 years. Every single year. Every single year. Every year. So why would you have some of the same issues? Do they regenerate that quick? I thought it took 7 years. That's as per Deepak Chopra. Yes, I swear it takes longer than that. Deepak is going against everything I've ever learned, because I've always learned that basically your cells replenish within 7 years. So like every 7 years, you essentially have a whole new whole new body of cells. Because there's literally like trillions of cells in your body, right? But the cells you have today are not all the exact same cells that you had yesterday or 2 days ago or 7 years ago. And after 7 years, you've essentially replaced all of those trillions of cells because the body's cells are constantly replicating and creating their own replacements, right?
So right here, it says, Deepak, it's a question. Deepak, you've mentioned many times that most of our body's molecules get replaced every year. What type of evidence do you have to support this? Many people say it takes 7 to 10 years for this to happen. And some argue that much of our body doesn't even get recycled at all. Deepak's response, the replacement of cells in all living organisms, not just the human body, is not controversial. It is a basic biology. Cells reproduce, divide, and replace the old cells that die. The white blood cells last about 1 day. All the cells in our stomach lining are replaced after 3 days. Skeletal cells can take up to 10 years to be replaced. Only a few rare cells, like corneal cells in the eye and perhaps some cerebral neurons, don't reproduce on their own, even though they came from stem cells, just like all the other specialized cells. Not sure what evidence you're looking for regarding molecules being replaced in the body. Cells are made of molecules. So if you replace the cells, you replace the molecule. The body and the cells it is comprised of are mostly water. We don't have the same water molecules in our body now that we have had when we were embryos in our mother. We eat, we drink, we breathe constantly, and we oxygenate and exhale other molecules constantly.
Do you know what? I absolutely can get on board with that because we do replace our water, right? It's constantly changing. We don't have the same water molecules in us now that we would have had from birth. So that makes sense.
Right.
So changing the molecules, not necessarily changing the cells.
But the molecules are in the cell. That's what you just said.
Got it. Okay. That makes a little more sense to me that the molecules are changing. And since the molecules are changing, the cells are changing. Even though there's not a complete regeneration of the cell, it may be changing based on how the molecules replace things such as water, H2O, right?
Right. And we're made of water. So everything is constantly in a state of change.
Got it.
Constantly moving, constantly changing. What I find interesting is we still have the same issues, even though we're constantly changing. So why is that? Why does the same bullshit stay with us all the time? Why does the same belief systems, why do traumas hang on to us for so long? Why?
So it can't be just the body then, right? If it's changing. So there's got to be a spiritual link as well.
True. It's actually the energy field. So the body holds on to everything. It keeps the score, right? In our energy field. So those light bodies I was talking about, some of them are relationships. Some of them are, teach us that we can live with our pain type of thing. If we have knee pain or low back pain or whatever, we just learn to just adapt and live with it. But if we clear the field, we clear the energy field, then we no longer have those issues.
Now, a lot of times we talk about emotions being trapped in muscles. How is that different than it being trapped in the energy field?
Well,
so now I'm way confused because I'm like, well, wait a minute, it's trapped in the muscles and we release this feeling from the muscle, but if it's regenerating every year, how is it stuck there?
The energy field holds the emotion, and the muscle holds tight if it has that emotion in that energy field.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you have...
So the muscle is an after effect of the energy in the energy field. So It's a symptom or a sign. It's a sign of...
It's the body talking to you.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for example, if you have pain in your upper back, between your shoulder blades, your rhomboids, let's say that, okay? Oh, my middle back is killing me. I don't know what's going on. What is this type of thing? Well, you actually have meridians that run down there, down both sides of your back. That's your yang energy, your male energy. Your female energy.
You just wanted
is
to
on the
say
front.
yang. Let's talk about yangs, baby.
I wish everybody could see you dancing like that. But pain can be caused by the body speaking to you, and pain can be caused by like a reactive muscle, for example. The muscles just hold the memory of what's going on. So, for example, if I tested the rhomboids and then put them in circuit and then tested all the other upper body muscles that are around the rhomboids, you know, like your latissimus dorsi, your anterior serratus, which is your lung meridian, just tons of muscles that don't make any sense to anybody but me. But if I test them in relation to the rhomboids, and the rhomboids are the bully that's turning all the other muscles off, and that's the one that's hurting.
Mm-hmm.
If we put the bully to sleep and go turn on all the other muscles and then invite the bully back to play, the pain will be gone because they're working in conjunction with each other. And that's how the body works. The body is super intelligent, but if it has a beaver dam of any sort, it's going to act a lot like that. Does that make sense?
So bullies just need a nap.
They just need a timeout. Yeah. So we just put them to sleep.
Yeah, there's a lot there. You just went over a whole lot of stuff.
I just went over a ton.
I'm like, wow, that's...
Told you I've had a long day.
Yeah. Yeah, can we talk about something fun now?
You want to talk about ghosts? Talk about ghosts.
Yeah, I mean, ghosts are always a great topic, and they're way more interesting because I understand ghosts.
So I woke up at 4:30 this morning.
Yeah.
Told you it was a long damn day.
You did tell me it was long. You did tell me you've been up since 4:30, but you didn't tell me why exactly you woke up at 4:30.
I had a ghost that was waking me up with chest pain. And I had a ghost standing at the end of my bed, and he was still sitting there when I got out of bed. It's kind of freaky. I mean...
And so he was still sitting there at the end of the bed when you got up.
Yeah, he was floating in the air.
Should I feel violated that there's some ghost dude watching me sleep? Or is he just paying attention to you?
Brad, you know what? I'm not really sure why he's even bugging me because my office hours were not open. Like, I'm trying to sleep. But it was a lunar eclipse last night and it was a full moon. So it's like lots of crazy pissy energy. But anyway, that's
Speaking
how I
of
was
pissy
affected.
energy. Yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot of pissy energy
goodness.
lately, right?
For me. Yeah, for me.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Usually the full moon brings in just this really awesome flow of energy for me and I really enjoy it. But I think I was processing things to completely let go of stuff because I guess the North Node is in Aries and that's me. That's my sign. So like this whole year is my time to shift and change. And so I think us going up north and attending church, yeah, it didn't burn down, guys. But we went to
People were like, what? Wait a minute?
We went to a homecoming. My nephew came home from his mission and
So a homecoming is when a Mormon young man or woman goes somewhere else to preach their gospel for 2 years. When they come back, they have what's called a homecoming. And that missionary gets to talk in church and give a sermon of sorts. And,
well, he tells about his mission.
Yeah.
You know, things he learned, all the things.
And then they have a big gathering at the missionary's home to welcome them home.
Right, right. And it was super nice to see all the family and everything. But for the very first time, I went into church and I didn't disassociate. And I normally do. In the past, I have. I don't even remember being in there or even having anything to do with anything. I'll go get in the car and be like, so when are we going to do this? Like, it's really been that bad in the past. So I didn't know what to expect. But I found myself kind of reading the room and kind of watching people. No, I was really watching people and really feeling into things. And it still doesn't resonate with me at all. And people can believe what they want to believe. You know, we're all here to learn. But for me, that's not my spot. That's not my place. But I love being with my family. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great being with the family. It was definitely weird being back in the chapel and, you know, hearing the moany songs and
that's
listening
because
to
you
the
moaned
people
through
talk.
the whole song.
That's because the whole song was paced as a moan. Literally, I don't think they could have played it any slower on the organ. I don't think that the people could have been any more incoherent with their lyrics.
I know you were like, can you understand any of the words anybody's saying? And I'm like, nope.
No.
And then you started to like sing it without words and it sounded the same as everybody else.
Exactly. When I'm looking at the words in the book and I still can't make sense of what they're singing.
I know you were like, where are we at?
Yeah. No, that was just, no. Singing should not sound like that. It's like something you would hear in the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. They could just play LDS church hymns in the Haunted Mansion. It'd be scary.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. It was interesting though. And I think with the full moon and everything that I was processing that out completely out of my energy and being really present with it. And it kind of was uncomfortable. So I was pissy. Not to mention we drove 8 hours each way.
Well, I don't
on
want
a
to say,
weekend.
yeah, you were, but
It was. I apologized.
I
to
held
so
some
many
space
times.
for you.
I know. I ripped his head off a couple of times and I typically am not like that, like ever. But God, I was bad and I'm so sorry.
No worries.
I didn't realize I was bad, but I can't describe any other word than pissy. I was pissed at everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was not liking it at all.
Well, acceptance is the first step, honey.
Oh, yeah. It's really nice to not feel that anymore. But
God, I'd say
it needed to let go before we go into eclipse season and I get to create what I want, and really blossom this business and our podcast and everything in the upcoming months. Yeah, I had to let all that shit go. So
no, I'm really glad you did. Because it was rough. I'm not going to lie. It was rough. Like, oh my God. Like, Voodoo, just come over here with me. It's okay.
I know. Our poor dog goes over to protect Brad for me.
Oh, yeah. If either of us starts getting a little cross, Voodoo's right on top of the other person being like, it's okay. I got you.
She does. She's super protective and so sweet. So back to things getting caught in our energy field. So what I was going to get at is, remember when I went to the masterclass for the energy work that I do?
Yeah.
And the girl showed up with the blue fingertips.
Yeah.
I think it's called Raynaud's disease.
Are you sure it's not NARDS?
Is it?
I don't know, but NARDS is a lot funnier word.
Well, it's when people's fingertips go blue because and by WebMD, it says that they don't know the cause and they don't know how to fix it. But what I saw before my eyes is she showed up and said that she had they were royal blue fingertips. She said that her body can't hold magnesium. So if the body energetically cannot hold magnesium, it will never hold magnesium no matter how much you give it. If it's not able to energetically hold it because it's been in a fight or flight for so long.
Raynaud's magnesium deficiency.
Yeah.
Low magnesium levels can increase contractility in the blood vessels, and constriction of blood vessels is an important contributor to Raynaud's phenomenon.
Phenomena. Phenomena.
It just reminds me of the episode with Sandra Bullock.
I
where she was
know. On the Muppet Show.
Oh, God, what's wrong with us? So this lady had this Raynaud's or whatever it's called, and her fingertips were blue and weren't getting the blood supply, right?
Yes. And so she was going in every 4 days to get IV magnesium put into her body. And she'd been doing it for several years. She said 4 years. So the doctor that developed one of the modes of energy work that I do, he found that if the body energetically cannot hold something, no matter how much you give it, it'll never hold it. So he told her that. He said, if you energetically can't hold magnesium, you'll never ever hold magnesium, no matter how much you throw into it. You're just flushing it through. And he's like, do you want to fix that? And she was like, yeah. And so she looks up on the table. I mean, she's been suffering with it for 4 years.
Right.
And if you look it up, there's no cure to it. But he did a balance, and he's way faster than me. He did it in like 10 minutes. And when she got done, he's like, about 45 minutes, give it about 45 minutes and your fingers won't be blue anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never need magnesium again because your body will be able to take it in. And she was like, okay, like.
Yeah, like
sure.
anyone would be like a little skeptical because they've had the doctors telling them contrary.
Right. But the doctors don't know what they don't know. I wish they did this part too, because it would be such a better world. But
wouldn't it be great if we could blend those two types of medicine?
Oh, it would be so cool. It would be so cool.
If allopathic medicine and homeopathic medicine came together, how amazing would that be? Every clinic should have both.
There would be balance. And it's like that in other countries. But anyway, I sat across the table from this girl, and about 45 minutes later, she stood up and screamed, and her fingertips were pink. And she didn't have any more issues. And we were together for 4 days. So
it held on for at least 4 days.
At least 4 days. She didn't have any blue fingers. And she was in the master class, so she could balance herself with that if she needed to. ever again. But that's the thing.
Wow.
That's what gets caught in our field, in our energy field, and blocks us from being able to stimulate certain things or release things. So our energy is that important.
So was there like some bullshit in her energy that made it so she couldn't absorb that just had to be released, or was it trauma or?
She had a trauma that she had in her teens, and she'd been carrying it for so long. She was in her 40s. So, and when you go through a trauma, the body burns through magnesium first.
Interesting.
So it is really interesting because most of us don't think of the body as a whole thing. You know, we look at it as just parts, you know, a heart, lungs, a low back, you know, but instead look at what the whole body is saying because it's all connected. And well, like the infection I had that went through my heart, and I had heart issues and I had sinus issues, but nobody was telling me anything was wrong. Everything was fine. And I'm like, no, it's not fine. And then we find out.
Well, because they were testing the wrong thing.
Yeah. Then we find out I have an infection in my root canal, and they couldn't pick it up because it was so far up in my bone and it had gone into my system.
Well,
so
but they never tested for an infection. They tested your heart, and is your heart beating normal and all the things that your heart does.
Yeah.
But they never looked at, wow, is she sick? Because you didn't feel sick. So you couldn't tell them that sign, that symptom.
Well, I told you that my sinuses, like by my eyes and down below, like were sore all the time. Doctors didn't put that 2 and 2 together. And it's taken us several years to get to the point where it was like, oh, well, that was the culprit of all of it. But if you look at the body as a whole, it's so interesting because then you get like a story instead of oh, I hurt my finger. Like, no, your finger hurts. Or for example, your elbow hurts because your meridian that runs through your pinky and your thumb are weak. But if you return the life force energy, your elbow's not going to hurt anymore. Do you want me to test that for you?
No, I'm just
you're just doing it.
I'm just copying what you were doing. That's all.
I'm like, you want me to muscle test? Anyway, I find it super interesting. I absolutely love when things just fall together.
So that was one modality. And then your latest that you've become a master in is the touch for health. How does that differ from the other modality that you use that doesn't like anyone to talk about it?
Yeah, he doesn't like us to use its official name for some reason. I think it comes from Australia and it's really rare. And the reason why it's really rare is because he doesn't like people to talk about it. So
that's the first rule of Balance Club.
Yeah.
Don't talk about
Balance Club. Honestly, though, this doctor began with Touch for Health. Touch for Health is the basis of all energy balancing, and people just break off from that and kind of do their own thing. And this doctor is a complete and utter genius. Like he is off the spectrum of genius, like so smart. And he just studied the body and studied things all the way down to the cell level and how they change. And he wrote this work, and it actually turns the energy field into a 3D energy field that you balance. So you balance the body, mind, and soul, but it's in 3D. And so it gets really, really deep. It goes a little bit crazy because you're dealing with all of the energy fields. So you're in a unique situation where you are able to use both modalities, right, to help people. That's cool. Well, and I teach Touch for Health. So Touch for Health is for the layperson. Like anyone could do that. Little kids could do it for themselves. I have clients that are children and they do their brain integration before school. That's super cute. And so it helps them do better in school. It helps them focus. It helps them not have anxiety, But if you learn how to do these things on yourself, you learn how the body talks. And when you learn its language, that's where power comes. Because if you have like a hurt ankle or a stomach ache or indigestion or whatever, you can balance yourself. There's a balance for that. I love that. It's really fun. But it's super fun to see couples like completely walk in as separate beings and then leave as one. It's really fun. That is really cool. And look, we need our own individuality, but as a couple, you do have to be united. You have to be one brain. You have to be that same energy so that you can really grow forward. Yes. Yes, it's so needed to be on the same sheet of music, Instead of playing your own melodies, you play one. Yeah. Yeah. I know we've got some fun stuff coming up, Nann. Are we going to start talking about ghosty places in New Orleans? Yes. Oh, yes. We're going to be doing our podcast from New Orleans, the end part of October. We're going to show you some ghosty shit. We're going to be hitting some of the most haunted places in New Orleans. We're going to see if we can rustle up some ghost action.
Which will be amazing, and we'll tell you all about it. But before we go, the next couple of episodes, we'll be talking about some of those really cool haunted places that we're going to try and check out.
I'm super excited.
It should be fantastic. And until next week, when we will see you
On the other side of the veil.